And we're back with some more Seattle Kraken franchise mode, and in this one, we have the year 6 offseason, I believe it is, as we do have some players to re-sign here. We have Dubé, we have Nemec, Ronnie, Forsmark, Mirages, and Lindbergh. So we're going to start out with Dubé. He had 65 points this year, by far a career high. He is looking to be a fixture into our top 6 for now and the future, and he only wants 5.1 for the next 3 years, so I am certainly okay with that. I'll try to take him down a little bit to 4.7. Alright, he's willing to negotiate, it looks like. We'll try 4.75. There we go. Nemec, he didn't have a great year yet. I mean, it was okay. He had 31 points. It's on par with what he had last year. Not as good as his rookie season, obviously. He had 40 points back then, but you do have to take into consideration that we do have the likes of Brandstrom and Hughes, who had 60 points each on the back end this year. So if Nemec is going to be a consistent 30-point guy, being the number 3 offensive defenseman on this team, I am perfectly okay with that. So as long as he doesn't want too much, all right, 4.2 for 5 years. I don't know about 5 years, but money-wise, that's okay. All right, it doesn't look like he's willing to take his price down too much, so I'm going to try to take him down to 3 years instead. Okay, so he's currently unhappy with the negotiations, with the way they're going. But the good news is that he did meet us in the middle at 4 years, so I don't want to lose him, so I guess I'll take that. And then you have Ronnie. He had 28 points last year, and the important part for Ronnie is that he's pretty good defensively. 17 stick checking is his strongest defensive attribute, but the rest of his defensive category is really good. He has a 16 team player, pretty good physically, and he has an offensive read of 19, so it looks like he might be able to get it done offensively as well if he has to. Like, let's say we have an injury and he has to fill in the top 6 sometime, he might be able to do a serviceable job. So I think, yeah, he'd definitely be worth it. Here's the thing, we don't have much salary cap remaining, especially since we're giving out all these contracts to guys who are coming off their entry-level deals. What about Forsmark? He was in the AHL for part of this year. Oh yeah, that's a good deal for him. That is definitely a good deal for him. I'm going to try to take him down to 1.1. Mirages, I would like to get him back. He is asking for 4 mil for 3 years. Man, all these players are asking for a good chunk of money here. I mean, nothing too ridiculous, obviously, but you know, it all adds up, especially when we already have contracts like Matthews, Suzuki, Oettinger, Pelech, Brandstrom, you know, and that's only going to get worse because Luke Hughes, his contract's coming up next year, I believe, as he's only making 3.6 right now, and you can guarantee, I'm almost positive, that he is going to want somewhere around 7 or 8 mil at least. So we might have to make some tough cuts here. So there you go. As far as NHL players go, we got Forsmark, Nemec, and Dubé all signed, and then a bunch of AHL players as well. So who's left? We have Lindbergh, Mirages, and Ronnie for the NHL. I'm not going to be signing Sherwood, Padon, Bailey, or Schmaltz. They're all 30 plus, and they were all in the AHL. So I figured I'd make some room for some younger guys. But as far as these 3 go, I definitely would like to try to get Lindbergh back if we can, if he's not too expensive. But then again, I don't want to be spending too much in goal. Oh yeah, he's worth that. He is definitely worth that. That is a bargain. Now, as far as Mirages and Ronnie go, I believe they both want somewhere around 4 mil, if I'm not mistaken. And what are our finances looking like? We have negative 5.7 mil in cap space for next season. So I don't know if we'll be able to sign both of them. Let's see, is there anywhere we could clear up cap? In goal, you have Oettinger and Lindbergh, not getting rid of either of them. Defensively, you have Pelech, Brandstrom, Hughes, Bowie. We might be able to unload Bowie, maybe get a cheaper defenseman, a 7th defenseman, because I'm pretty sure that Forsmark should be able to have a bounce back season this year because he actually grew in the AHL. He's now up to a 2.5 star ability. So I'm hoping that that little bit of seasoning that he had with Palm Springs last year will be able to help him rebound and have a better season with us this year as opposed to what he had at the beginning of last year, which was not great. So we might be able to unload Bowie in terms of freeing up some more cap space and then just signing a very cheap 7th defenseman. And then at forward, you have Matthews, Suzuki, Kempe. I've been thinking about trading Kempe for a while, and I think this might be when we do it because not only is he making 5.75, but last year he wasn't all that impressive, only 29 points, and he wasn't fantastic defense. I mean, he wasn't bad, but he wasn't great defensively to, justify keeping him on only for defense. So I think we might be unloading Kempe here. Fantilli, definitely keeping him. I mean, he is an at 4.79 for 4 years, for 82 points last year. He is an absolute bargain, and we're going to keep him on board as long as we can. Shane Wright, honestly, he's another guy who I'm considering shipping out because he's already 23, spent 4 years in the NHL already, and this was his draft year, keep in mind, with his last year with the Frontenacs. So he's been of age to be in the NHL for 5 years now, and he really has not made much progress. As a matter of fact, he got worse this year than he was last year, because last year he had 30 points in 59 games. This year, only 35 in 82. His best season was his sophomore season, 50 points in 78 games, but I don't know if he's going to get back there, honestly, because if you take a look at who we have in our top six, Matthews, Suzuki, Fantilli, Amirov, Dubé as well. Remember, he had 65 points last year. And then Van Sickle's pretty good offensively and defensively, so I don't want to take him off. And then you also have Onishko, who could slot into the third line, and rating-wise, he's better than Shane Wright is offensively. Now, Shane Wright's better defensively than Onishko is, but with that trade value that Wright has, likely, with the 4.5-star potential, we could get something really good back from him, and he's taking up 4.1 of salary cap. And frankly, I don't see him hitting his potential. I really don't at this point, because he's simply not going to fit into our top six with the way it is. With Matthews, Suzuki, Fantilli, like I said, all those guys slotting in there already. There's just no room for him. Not to mention Arvidsson, who had a pretty good season himself. He had basically the same kind of season as Shane Wright, and guess what? He's better defensively. So Arvidsson is the kind of guy who I want on the third line, not Shane Wright. It pains me to say it, but I think Shane Wright might be gone here, because not only do we need to clear up cap, but he's also just fallen behind. Yeah, so I think that's what we'll do. So as a result, we'll sign Ronnie and Mirages. We should have enough for them after we unload Kempe and Shane Wright and Madison Bowie. I'll try to take Ronnie down a little bit to 3.5. All right, it looks like he's not willing to negotiate too much, so we'll try 3.75. Really? Okay, so he will not take anything less than 3.768 specifically for 1 year, so I guess we're going to have to submit that to him. And Mirages, he wants 4.09 for 3 years. I'll try to take him down to 3.65 for 3 years. How about 3.85? There we go. And all three of them have signed. So that is signings out of the way now, I believe. The only ones left who are not signed are all AHL players who I'm not signing. And now, of course, with our salary cap space next season being negative $13 million, we are definitely going to have to unload Shane Wright, Adrian Kempe, Madison Bowie, probably one other guy as well, who I'm not sure of at the moment, but we're going to have to clear up quite a bit. And we have a Stanley Cup champion, and that would be the Tampa Bay Lightning, who win over the Winnipeg Jets in 6 games. Let's take a quick look at their roster. They have Vasilevsky still, Point, Bedard, Fimis, who is a 4-star center, Onlefelt, who looks like he is a pretty solid goaltender as well, so they have a solid 1-2 punch in goal. I don't know why they're spending that much money in goal, though. I mean, hey, they won the Stanley Cup, so who am I to judge? They have Kucherov at 33 years old now. Domi, Hedman, I mean, they are looking pretty stacked over here. So our coach, Davis Payne's contract is up for renewal. Do I think he deserves an extension? That is the question. So he's obviously made the playoffs with this roster the past 2 years, which, I mean, that shouldn't be too hard to do in technicality because, we have, on paper, we have a pretty respectable team. So I'm not sure, honestly, because I kind of feel like I want to be the coach myself because of some of the lineup decisions that have been made. And that's probably part of why Shane Wright's growth was stunted quite a bit, is because he never really got the chance to play in the top 6. Because he was mostly playing on the third line due to lineup decisions being made by coaches, whether it's Davis Payne or Gerard Gallant. But I mean, we're basically done with Shane Wright at this point anyway. We almost have to trade him at this point. And with the way our roster is shaping up, I think our top 6 is basically set now with Matthews, Fantilli, Dubé, Arvidsson, Amirov, and Van Sickle. And then Suzuki as well as a 7th option. So I don't think there's much risk of having a coach stunt the development of any important prospects, because the majority of our important prospects are already basically where they should be growth-wise, like ability-wise. So here's what I'll do. I'll give him a 2-year contract. And here we go. We have the awards. For the Ted Lindsay, I have Nathan MacKinnon, as well as the Art Ross and Maurice Richard. They all go to MacKinnon. Lady Bing goes to Mitch Marner. The Bill Masterton goes to Adam Pelech. So there you go. Adam Pelech gets an award. And he also gets the Mark Messier Leadership Award. So good leader, that Adam Pelech. He's one of our alternate captains for a reason. And the Jennings Trophy goes to Joel Blomqvist. The Hart between McKinnon, Perfetti, and Theodore, it goes to Nathan MacKinnon. The Conn Smythe goes to Braden Point of Tampa. For the Calder, you have Frank Nazar, Rutger McGrogerty, and Hunter Brzydowicz. These names, man, they are starting to get a little bit ridiculous. Anyway, the Calder Trophy goes to Frank Nazar of Minnesota. The Norris, between Werenski, Quinn Hughes, and Shea Theodore, it goes to Shea Theodore. For the Selkie, between Brady Burney, Cameron Van Sickle, our very own Cameron Van Sickle, and Dmitry Voronkov, it goes to Brady Burney. That's unfortunate. Vezina Trophy, between Jordan Binnington, Ola Eriksson Ek, and Joel Blomqvist, it goes to Joel Blomqvist of Pittsburgh. And the Executive of the Year, between Cheveldayoff, Hextall, and Johnson, it goes to Ryan Johnson of New York. And the Jack Adams, between Scott Gomez, Dave Lowry, and Todd Reardon, it goes to Todd Reardon. And it is the last day of the season, and we had a final season score of 28. So we're going to put our 5 available points all into negotiating skill. And I just realized we had some prospects whose rights were about to expire, so I offered some of them to join our AHL team. So it appears we are going to need a new goalie coach, as our current one, Stefan Waite, has retired. And it looks like we have ourselves a good one here in Jordan Sigalet. He's 46 years of age, so probably no risk in him retiring anytime soon. And good at coaching prospects, good at coaching goalies. That's all you really need out of a goalie coach. So we're going to hire him on as assistant coach for 4 years. And yeah, salary-wise, we absolutely have to dump Kempe and Wright at the very least, because we are currently at $88.14 million. And the salary cap is at 82.5 if I'm not mistaken. So Kempe and Wright are definitely gone at the draft. Or if not the draft, then some point in the offseason for sure. So as the top free agent this year, you have Nick Robertson, who is a 5-star ability. But unfortunately, as we know, we have absolutely no room for any free agents whatsoever. As a matter of fact, we have to clear up cap, so I'm not even going to really look too much in free agency at the moment. At least not until we figure out a trade for Kempe and for Mr. Shane Wright. So that being said, I think I'm going to end things off here. Let me know what you guys think. And in the next one, we'll trade Wright, we'll trade Kempe, we'll get to the drafts, and we'll make our way to the start of year number 7. See you guys then.